And we are live. Good evening, UK Crime Book Club. Thank you for being patient. We had a couple of technical gremlins, which have now been sorted out. It's all the best interviews start with technical gremlins because they all start with technical gremlins, all of them. So, not a bad sign. It's like saying break a leg. So, shall we introduce you both? So, who wants to go first this time? Sally, shall we have you this time?
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Sally Rigby. I write crime fiction, the Cavendish and Walker series and Sebastian Clifford series. I live in New Zealand, but I come from the UK. And that's about it. I'll pass you over to Amanda.
Kia ora. I'm Amanda. I write romance, middle grade and young adult books, but this is my first venture into domestic thrillers and I'm really excited about it. I have lived in England for many years. I was born in Australia, but I now live in New Zealand.
Hence the accent.
Yeah, yes, it's very hard to peg me down.
So, before we get into your journey together, sound like an American TV host, a journey. Tell me a little bit about your solo book, the books you've written on your own beforehand, because you're both prolific. There's a lot going on. So, Sally, do you want to go first again?
Okay. Before I went into crime fiction, which I started at the end of 2018, I wrote young adult under a pen name. The trouble was I was being published by a young adult romance publisher, and romance isn't my bag. I was really a bit of a square peg in a round hole. And then, thanks to Amanda nagging me to write what I actually like to read, I branched out into crime fiction, and that's been really successful. The Cavendish and Walker series, I've got 11 books out. I don't know if you can see behind me. There. There's the first 10. And then I've also just started a new series featuring Sebastian Clifford, and I'm just working on the third book at the moment. That should be out next year. And that's it. Over to Amanda.
Cool. I started life writing sort of young adult and romantic comedy type romances, which are the books I love to read and watch on television and movies. But everything I ever did sort of had a mystery plot. I probably grew up with too much Trixie Belden and Nancy Drew and Scooby-Doo. So I actually really love putting a mystery throughout the book because it sort of always gave me a plot I could focus on. But yeah, writing these domestic thrillers with Sally, it's just, I never thought it would be something I'd like doing, and I love them. It's really, I like going into the dark side. Who knew?
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, exactly.
So, talk to me a bit about your writing routine on your own, and then what the differences are between. In fact, I want another question first. Before I ask that, I want to know whose idea the co-writing was. Is it your idea?
Well, I'll tell you how it happened. Amanda, we critiqued each other's work for a long time, and Amanda's brilliant editor. And I'd send over my manuscript, and when she got her hands on it, it was so much better. So I had, all these magics. So I had this idea that we should write a psychological thriller, and I emailed her thinking that she'd say no. I really just, I just emailed and said, look, I've got a really good idea. Why don't we write a psychological thriller? I can write like the first draft, and you can make it pretty, and and then she said yes, and I. The good if I was sitting down. So literally that's how it, just like a thought from me once I'd got some feedback from her. And yeah, I don't know, I must have got you on a good day, that's all I can say.
I am very attracted to bright, shiny new projects.
Yes.
But I also get bored very easily of bright, shiny new projects. So actually when Sally said it, I probably might have got bored, but I couldn't because I had to commit to it once I'd agreed. So,
so we've got a few hellos already. Kaz, thank you for tagging everybody. And Leslie says hello, and we're waiting for a few more people to join. So what was the difference between writing on your own and then working together? How do the roles, do you ever get frustrated working on your own, or is it easier working together, or are you throwing things at each other?
No, it's such a laugh. I mean, you said about the process. Well, so because we're now just thinking about number 3, so we are refining our process.
Yeah.
But so what we do is the first one we did get together as well. We plan everything in detail. Then I went away and did the first draft, which is now next time is going to be like a massive big outline. And then Amanda takes it and makes it really nice. So that's like the process in a nutshell. But the weekends, because the last time we spent a weekend together, Amanda came here. I mean, we just laughed, didn't we? Non-stop. And we saw each other in January.
Yeah, but that's what we always do. It's what we've run many writing workshops together, and when we write and plan those workshops, we just laugh, and we both have a similar process. We are quite deadline driven, so we do like television and books and drifting off. But as soon as we have to quick, must look busy, we sort of both are quite, we would never miss deadlines. So that way we're both quite similar. I think because we know each other so well, and we have literally read and critiqued all the books that each of us have written before we were published and since, so we know how we work really well. Sally always has to say, is that possible? She'll logistically work out if someone can climb up a wall and reach the window. And whereas if I'll just say what I want her, what I think she needs to add to her manuscript, but we don't pussyfoot around. So we're working like that because we've always done it. I think it really helped this relationship.
Yeah, I suppose it would, because you're not coming from this cold. You know each other inside out. You know each other's writing habits. You must know the things that each other overuses, or if you've got any kind of, anything that you always do that you then have to go back and fix. The other one would already know that and say, stop that.
Exactly.
So you must be able to kind of keep each other in check in that way, in a nice way.
Yeah, we do. And because we've got distinct roles in the process, it's not you write a chapter, I'll write a chapter. We do that together. I'll do that. Amanda does that. The first set of revisions, Amanda does. The second set of revisions from the publisher, this is, I'll do. And then we both take a look at the end. It just worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but I think because we just know each other and we can call each other out if we're doing anything, and not get offended. That's the thing, is we don't get offended.
No. And I mean, I think because we're both huge fans of each other's work too, I love Sally's books. I hope she loves mine. And so we've always wanted the best for each other as individual authors. So it's the same in this as well.
And when you sat down to discuss the actual idea for the story, was there a discussion? Was there this is what I think, this is what I think? Was it closer to one of your suggestions than the other, or was it just a work in progress as you discussed it?
It just evolved, didn't it? Like the first one we had, can't remember how we got that, but then that evolved through discussion. The second, that was the one that was... because should we just tell you what happened with that first book? Actually, that might set the scene a bit. So we wrote this book together with the intention of querying publishers. And I had 3 on my list, and one of them was Boldwood Books, but they were closed to submissions. Then I discovered that they were having a psychological thriller contest. So I said to Amanda, how much had we got of it? We hadn't even got the whole thing. I'd done a very, very 30,000 draft and sent it to Amanda. And then we discovered that they had this contest. So we went to Wellington, it was January, and we met up and we talked about it and we said we'd enter the contest. Of course, Amanda didn't think that meant she had to then write the whole book.
They didn't say.
So we entered this contest with the first 3 chapters.
They were very good chapters.
They were very good chapters, because then we finalled with the 3 chapters, and they wanted the whole book in how long? It was very
quickly. Very quickly.
A couple of months. So then we sent them, and then in the end they said, just send what you've got. We sent a completed manuscript and we won the contest. So from the contest...
Congratulations, what a great way to start out.
Yeah.
I know. But it made us work. Then from the contest, we'd got a 2-book deal, so we had to then do a second book. And so it was the idea for the second book that took quite a while, because we had all these amazing ideas without actually realising what a psychological thriller properly was. We'd sort of inadvertently written one, but we'd got in our heads it was a bit different, hadn't we?
Yes.
So
yes.
finally, when we were talking with Emily, who's our editor, we then came up with an idea for this one, which we're just in the revision process for the next one. So that one evolved with her help. I can't even remember what question I'm answering now. I have no idea where. So what were you asking?
I was so absorbed in your answer, I've no idea what I actually asked you.
We must have nailed it.
Yeah, which is terrible. I'm generally quite good at remembering what the last question was, but I'm just sat here not even thinking them on camera.
That's because you're with us. We lure you into our weird world. Yeah.
Just imagine how strong the pull would be if you weren't on the other side of the world.
Exactly. It'd be chaos.
Thank you, Caroline Maston. Is any one person more bossy in our team? Sam is in charge. Well, that's nonsense. I'm the organised one. Kaz is the overseer and keeps me in check. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Not that Kaz isn't organised. It's just I work from home now. I'm not at a school anymore, so it's a bit
easier.
Yeah, because I can do it in pyjamas now, so it's fine.
Fantastic. I bet you've got pyjamas on now, haven't you?
You know what? I've actually not. I'd show you, but I'm going to end up. But for once, I've actually got tracky. I've got a nice top on, but then tracky bottoms.
Yeah, I've only got a nice top on. You're at work, so you've probably got nice bottoms as well.
Yeah. But I have everything. All my clothing is like legal pajamas, so lots of waistbands and loose sleeve legs.
Yeah.
So I pretend I'm in
there
pajamas.
Anything other than a waist, than elasticated waist? I don't think so.
They should be outlawed. So, is one of you more in charge?
Depends what it is.
Yeah.
Amanda is more in charge of like the editing of things because she's such a good editor, and I'm organised and I will like send things off and sort things out. So we both have our own little role.
I'd sort of do more the craft story side of it,
and I would do the marketing sort of arrange. Put it this way, we wouldn't have entered the competition if I hadn't have found it and cajoled Amanda.
You didn't want to send it in because you were worried that we hadn't completed the full manuscript.
Oh, yeah, and you said, oh, no, we won't need to do that.
Yeah.
So you do balance each other out really well.
Yeah, we really do.
Did you find many similarities and differences in your writing styles, Kaz asked? So you're both working on psychological thriller, brand new for both of you. Domestic thriller.
No, it's psychological thriller.
Psychological, but domestic.
Domestic. Sort of a mix. Our writing style's quite similar. We have a third member of our gang of 3. We're the gang of 3, Karen, or known as Christina. And her writing, I'm very concise. Karen's sort of very flowery, and Amanda's sort of in the middle. So we're sort of fairly close to each other in style, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Sally's really good at getting like moments down, and then I'll go and put things around them. Yeah. But
I don't deal with emotion.
No, but I think we both understand each other's style a lot. Sally actually has always been brilliant at writing male characters, which I think is quite tricky for a lot of. We hang around romance writers a lot, and I don't know, male tricky characters can be really tricky. Sally really nails them, so I think that's
that's why.
But her conciseness really comes into play on that. So I think we just use each other's strengths and weaknesses, strengths within the book while we're writing too.
Yeah.
Well, so far we've not actually discussed Remember Me. So I think maybe we should do that.
So we don't have we don't have the paperback copies yet, but that's it. If I've got it even.
You've been practicing.
Yeah,
you've been practicing holding that up straight.
In the introduction that we did the other day, I'd got the white border and I decided to have it so it looked like a book. You could pretend that's a book.
If you hadn't told us, we wouldn't have known.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known, would you?
No.
I'll just read through a bit.
So, did the idea for the story come first, or did the characters come first, and then you figured out what they'd
the hook came first.
Yeah.
And trying to very carefully talk about it without actually saying anything about it.
You say the hook, Amanda, because we say it better. But we can say the hook because it's in the blurb, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we basically wanted to write a book about a guy who is getting on with his life, and then his ex-girlfriend reappears on the scene, except she can't be because she's dead, and he should know because he killed her. And so when we just had that hook of, he's convinced he's killed someone, and how he unravels as they come back into his life. And yeah, really, we didn't have characters at that point. We just had this idea. It was originally called Empty Grave, and that sort of really kept us focused on what the heart of the story was. And we both love the new name that the publisher came up with, but Empty Grave helped write the book because it sort of summed up the hook for us.
Yeah, I agree with that. They sound like, even though they're not, and I can see where the title came from, Remember Me just seems to sum it up in the way that it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we will love it.
It's a more sort of like an active rather than a passive title, I felt, because it was and that was creepy. We had no idea we'd written a creepy book, I have to tell you.
Really? You didn't know that any was creepy?
We didn't realise it was creepy until I sent it out to, I've got quite a large ARC team, and Bold would let me send them an ARC copy each. And I kept getting all these emails saying how creepy and scary it was. And we had no idea. I kept emailing Mum and saying, our book's creepy, did you know?
Imagine if we tried.
Oh my word. So, knowing that, do you think you'll ramp it up even more now?
Well, I don't know whether we have this second one, which we're really enjoying doing, which we're calling, can I say? Yeah, okay. We're calling it The Guilty Sister, but we have no idea what the title is. When you're actually in it and you're writing it, who knows?
Yeah.
Creepy and scary.
I'm trying to decide if it's more worrying that you didn't realise it was creepy.
Well, or that we didn't know what was in a psychological thriller and we wrote one.
Yeah.
We thought, I suppose, it was more to do with psychological traits or psychological, I can't remember the words, it escapes me. Things that people do, like folie à deux and things like those sorts of things. We just thought that was a psychological thriller, but it's not. What is it, Amanda? Because
you can't remember, can you? It's secret, so it's everyone sort of has these dark secrets that and nothing is quite what it seems. So it's sort of you get those twists and turns.
Yeah, that was it. I knew it.
It was on the tip of your tongue.
So was writing Paul, because you've just said he unravels spectacularly, so I'm not giving that away, you've just said it, and I'm really glad you did. How fun was that? So
much fun. So when I first, when Sally first was writing under her other name, doing young adult books, she had the habit of being a wonderful mother and so coming in and trying to save all her young adult characters. Like they would literally ring Mum and Mum would save them. And I was like, no, Sally, your characters must save themselves. And so, so with Paul, it's the same in any book. You just want to throw as many things as possible at your characters because that's how they reveal themselves. So yeah, it's really fun. You just sit in the peanut gallery and be a bit mean to them. Yeah. I like that. Sally likes that. You're a lot better now at being mean to your
I
characters.
do, and this is why Amanda's so good at craft. You can just hear. She's amazing.
And after reading it, yeah.
Did you enjoy it? No, I shouldn't ask you that.
No, I really did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it.
Were you scared?
No, but I don't scare you either.
No.
In books, in person, big old wuss.
Yeah.
Big old wuss, absolutely. If somebody jumps out at me, I'm likely to probably punch them on reflex.
You sound like me. I'm like that, yeah. But I don't get scared in books.
No, I don't.
I can't
either.
watch scary films, though. I don't like that. So I can't watch horror movies at all.
No. I would watch between my fingers. I'd like, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Stranger Things through my fingers. My nephew laughed at me.
No, I didn't watch that. It looked too scary.
I thought it would be, but do you know what? I managed. Once I got used to the Dormageddon. Oh, Caroline.
I haven't seen it.
I can't get fixated on that. It's all I've got in my head now. Gorga. Oh, what are they called? Somebody tell me. So I can
Somebody will tell you.
Voice off in my head. Where are we? So Leslie asked, how dark is the joint venture? Now, we touched on creepy. Did you have to rein any of it in, or is there anything that you ramped up?
We,
I'm trying to think.
We had to in this second one. I'm getting confused with the second one now. We went a little bit too dark.
Because you're in the current work, aren't you?
We're in the current one.
A while ago.
Yeah. I don't think dark. No, I don't think we did have to rein ourselves in. But I think this second one we have had to just. I'm not going to say what it is, but we did have to make some changes.
No, we had to go dark. The second one, and I think the first one too. We actually pushed further. Yeah, we had to. No, it's more. I'd say go more complex. So sort of, really sort of show though as the secrets unfold what effects they have, and come at them from more places too. So not just. I think in the first one we definitely had to show torment more in different environments, not just in one part. Yeah,
you're right. Because
we're
watching him handle small and larger issues in different places. So he could be in a shop, he could be at work because he's a deputy head. Could be at Jenna's parents' house, and Jenna's his girlfriend, for anyone who hasn't had a look yet. But when is it actually released?
The 18th, which is your tomorrow. Yeah.
So we'll pop a link in for publication day as well for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just thinking. I think I need to stop thinking about this. I think it's the Demigorgon.
Have you seen on that?
I can feel it like whirring in the back of my head. Kaz wants to know who's the chief researcher in the team.
Well, I think Amanda's just left us. Probably me, simply because I do the first bit, like the first draft, or which is going to be a massive outline for the next one. Oh, come back. Welcome back.
Sorry.
Would you agree?
Sorry, what was the question?
Who was the chief researcher? And I said probably me, because I'm doing the first draft.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a Google as I go, but I don't have huge attention to detail. So Sally likes going down the rabbit hole.
I'll do that. Yeah,
a lot more.
You were saying earlier that you wrote 30,000 words and sent that to Amanda, Sally. Yeah. So have you done that with both? Have you written sections and sent it to check that you're going in the right direction, or have you just written chunks and sent that?
When we had our weekend, say for this current one, we spent the weekend literally planning and writing on big boards and everything, and then so we got a scene spreadsheet. So I then drew up the scene spreadsheet, sent it to Amanda, and then we changed that around, and then I started writing it. And this time I gave you 50,000 words, didn't I? It was better this time.
I think we hadn't really structured it enough in book one, so a lot changed. And I mean, books, no matter how much you plot them, well, for me anyway, they change once the characters step onto the page. That's the part I do that alarms Sally. But you're getting a lot better.
I am getting better. It's actually, yes, I do change my plot a bit, but I tend to keep my characters. But
everything is fair game for me, but it's helped me. It's helped rein me in, so I don't actually go as crazy on the changes as I would on my own, which has been an interesting experience for me too. It's been good.
We're just having a look who the comment that says, "Hello, ladies, great to hear you." That's Jane Wisdom.
Hello.
So, hi Jane. Sandra Ernstoff has asked, how do you make your writing distinctive so it be recognised as Amanda Rigby? That's a really good question.
It's a very good question, to which I'm going to ask Amanda to answer, because I have no idea.
That is a very good question. I don't know.
No.
I do think, because Sally and I do sort of know whose voice comes where, but it really is a blend. I rein myself in places because Sally writes a lot more concisely. So I think my books on their own probably not flowery, but would have more. And I really like stripping back sometimes, which is what Sally does so well. So I think it is, for Sally, it's probably a pumped up version of what her normal books are. And for me, it's a slightly stripped back, and it just sits somewhere in the middle. I think it's, and I think it has really helped both of us. Definitely helped me as a writer.
Yeah. But we also, our use of English is similar. I think that's, you know, even with all the pumped up or the stripped back, just our actual use of English it's quite similar.
And we've always loved the same character names. We often help each other name characters because we both just the same names. Some people will give us name suggestions. We're like, no, can't be that. But yeah, we've always loved the same names.
Yeah. That must make it easy, because if you had completely different ideas, then this could have, I don't know, cost you friendship. But instead, it seems like it's it's made it stronger.
Yeah, but we're too shallow. It wouldn't have cost us a friendship.
But I was just going to say, we're also quite similar in that we're both very pragmatic. We're not precious over our stuff at all. You know, if very rarely would either of us dig our heels in if the other person, you know, we just would talk it through and whatever. We're quite, you know, we're not precious over it at all, really, are we?
No.
I mean, we call ourselves shallow. I mean, we're not really shallow. Shallow and principled.
I don't know. That sounds like fun. Favourite characters? Do you both have a favourite character? Do you have the same one? Have you discussed this? Who you like most or least?
No, we haven't discussed it.
No, but I suspect they'll be different. In books, do you mean?
In your book, in Remember Me?
Oh, in the book itself?
Yes.
We haven't discussed it. Who did you like best, Sally?
I don't know.
You can't remember their names.
I never remember who the characters are and their names. Meanie.
I loved writing. I loved Paul. I like that. Yeah. It was complex and interesting, and I could see both sides of him. And so I liked him.
I don't think he was my favourite. But I can't actually, I'm not going to say, because it might give things away, mightn't it?
Fair enough. Oh, okay. Okay. Kaz asked, how has it been writing through lockdown? Now, you're in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So your lockdown has been different to the UK one. But how did you find it during the lockdown? What was that like for you?
Well, we didn't, did we?
No, it hasn't. We've been very lucky in New Zealand. We had a lockdown last year for about 4 weeks. And there's been a lockdown recently, and Auckland, which neither of us live in, is just coming out of maybe a 7 or 8 week lockdown. They're just slowly moving out now, but it hasn't really affected us. It's sort of that joke that I think writers have been preparing for lockdown their entire lives, because, you know, like sitting in our pajamas at home.
Yeah.
But it's always a bit hard to concentrate. I think with the first lockdown, when everyone was so unsure, and it's awful to see the world burning down, sort of, and it's quite, it's upsetting. I personally just had to stop watching the news and numbers. I just couldn't keep looking at all the numbers. It was just, so that side was hard to switch off. But I think writing with children too has always helped, that you can learn to block out the world, which is how I've always operated. So that's what I did.
How about reading? What kind of things do you both read?
Do you want to go first or me?
Okay. Well, at the moment I'm reading John Grisham. I'm just reading The Whistler because I had read it and I'd forgotten it before because I've just got the new one that's come out. I love Harlan Coben. He's my favourite, and he liked one of my tweets once. Such a fun girl. So mainly crime. I like anything legal. My favourite books are the Stieg Larsson Girl with the Dragon Tattoo books. They're about the only books I will reread. I love those.
Actually not read them yet. I know.
Well, you're in for a treat. So
and we can't joke about, like, the joke about fangirling. And Kaz did, we turned our hobby of reading into author stalking. So I am all for a like and a retweet from an author. I can just the thought of it. Did I? So cool. Amanda, what do you read?
I read everything. I don't read everything actually, but I love reading. I always have about 3 books on the go. I read a lot of YA fantasy, adult fantasy. I do a lot of non-fiction books. I'm rarely interested sort of in how the mind works, which is probably why I loved writing these books so much. And I do some crime. I've started doing a lot more now, sort of maybe when Sally started writing crime, and so I'd be critiquing them, so I was reading more crime sort of just to get the vibe. And I really like Ian Rankin. I just went down a Ian Rankin rabbit hole recently, and that was great. I like I like indie paranormal romance kind of books as well. So I read a lot, but I only read books I love.
So one of the questions that we love to ask, and I think, Sally, you've already answered this, but it was a while ago with Kaz, so I'm going to ask again. Memorable moments for you both as an author. So Sally, do you want to go first? Oh, Amanda, go first.
I can. Well, for me, it involved Sally. When I don't know if your first book had come out too. When our first books both came out with
same time, didn't they?
Yeah, American traditional publishers. We both went over to the Romance Novelists Association.
I think that was mine.
Yeah, we went
to Noble.
To 2000. It was 2008. We went to the romance writers. What's it called? Not workshop. Conference
in San Francisco.
We went from New Zealand to San Francisco, and it was the first time my books hadn't been distributed in Australia and New Zealand much, so we got to walk into Barnes and Noble and both see our books on the shelf, and we were there at the big literary signing, and it was really exciting. It was because we didn't get many author moments living so far away, so that was definitely a buzz for me.
I reckon I would have said that as well when I spoke to Caroline, but I have no recollection. But I'm sure, that would have been it. Obviously now, and Harlan Coben liking my tweet.
Absolutely.
You're pushing your fun with me to the side for Harlan Coben.
I think so.
I still rewatched something called The Five that Harlan Coben wrote, and there wasn't a book. I remember Googling thinking there's got to be a book, and there wasn't. But I absolutely loved it. I don't know if you'll have seen it. Sound familiar to either of you? It could have been called something different, I suppose.
What's it about? Because I watch everything that we can.
A young boy goes missing while he's out in the woods with his brother and his brother's friends. So they've gone for a walk, and they send him home by himself, and they go in a different direction, and that's the last anyone's ever seen of him. And then it's kind of the mother wondering, you know, she always believes that he's alive, the father not believing that he's alive and saying, come on, you know, we need to
I don't know if we
move
have.
on now. If you've not, you'll love it if you love Harlan Coben.
I'm just going to write that down.
I absolutely. I went. It was on whatever channel it was on for a while, and then it had gone, and I was gutted.
Oh,
So
we
I
usually
went
get it on Netflix if we're going to get it.
I bought it on Prime as soon as I found it again. I bought it, so I own it now. So there's no escape. I do love it. So, what can you tell us anything about book 2 that you're working on? I know you told us the name, which I have forgotten.
Yeah, well, because we probably won't stay that name anyway. That was.
Do you want me to?
Well, then you get the blame if we give away too much. So yeah.
No, I won't give away too much. There's 3 sisters, and one of them has a secret big enough to possibly kill for.
Ooh,
But we
That
don't know
sounds
who.
interesting.
Well, we
that does
know
sound
who.
interesting.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't think that gives away too much of the.
we're too late now.
Yeah. No one's
I
going to
don't think
remember.
you've given anything away there. You've
No,
said
I
that
don't
you
know.
like secrets, and I love books that unearth family secrets. That's my kind of thing. I love something that this perfect looking family or this dysfunctional looking family, but actually you've got no idea what's actually going on underneath and behind the scenes
Yeah,
in the past and how they're hiding one thing and what caused another thing. I love that. How do you decide what you think is a good enough secret to use?
This is the stuff. This one we brainstormed on that weekend, and we sort of really dug deep into the character. And it wasn't so much what the secrets were, but what led up, like really getting into the thickness of the backstory rather than just, you know, like, oh, they did this. We sort of really wanted to create what were the circumstances behind the secret and how it affected them, sort of go into those psychological scars that people carry forward in life. So I think that's what we did. Do you agree, Sally?
You know, I hadn't even realised what the point of the book was until it dawned on me. We'd got the revisions back from Emily, and I said to Amanda, do you know what? I always thought the focus of this, I can't say what it is, I always thought this was the point in the book, but now I understand the book we've written, this is the book. I had no idea what the focus of the book was, or was it the theme? It was whatever it was. So.
Kaz is asking what's next for both of you jointly and individually. So we know jointly you've got book 2 and book 3.
Yeah, book 2 comes out. Well, book 2 comes out in March. Book 3 we haven't yet signed a contract for, but we've just got an idea for. For me,
And are they all standalones?
Yes.
Which even as I asked that, I knew it was a stupid question.
Oh, that's a stupid question, Sam. No, they are all standalones. So,
do you think you like the idea of a series together at some point, or do you like the whole standalone? You know, you do that project and then it's done, and you can put it down for a short while.
I think for us that would probably. I mean, I can't speak for Amanda, but for me, I think that's a good way to go because we've still got our own individual careers to keep moving, and that's
So how do you split the time down then between? Do you do kind of half a year of each, or
we just like
you just
slot it in,
get on with it as and when it needs? That's got to be hard around working as well.
I think we're both used to working in pockets of time. Sally, when first met Sally, before either of us were published, and she'd be working full time and just you'd write a chapter a day at work in pockets. My kids were really little. I don't know. We both work quite quickly because we don't have long attention spans. And so getting those pockets, we just sort of learned. But Sally's particularly good at getting her pockets of work done. So
little and often.
Do other things.
So what's next for you both individually?
Do you want to go first?
Yep. So because I've enjoyed these so much, and I had been toying with trying some crime books, and so I'm going to do some set in Liverpool, which is where my husband is from, so not too far away from you, Sam.
Not
And
too far at all.
I've lived in Liverpool for many years, and I just, I loved Liverpool so much. I was quite thrilled when I discovered, because I just didn't know why I loved it, and then I discovered that I think my great grandmother was from there, and I was just like, oh my god. So, yeah, no, it was really exciting. So I've sort of plotted out a whole, maybe two books and 2 novellas doing that so far, and I'm really excited because it really is the city of my heart. It's just such a beautiful place, and the people are just, I don't know, they're just quite rebellious and interesting, and yeah, I love it. So I am really excited, and my husband's really excited too. He doesn't usually participate much in my books, but yeah, his eyes lit up.
Well, if you do want to send me to Liverpool to check that where you put in a body is actually a good place for it, and that it really does work, I will go. I will take pictures.
You're on. That's so cool.
I know an author, Rachel Abbott, sends a sister to places in Manchester, and I remember her telling a story about a sister going up to some workmen and saying, so next to this river, next to the canal in Manchester, so where do you think would that be a good place to find a body, and how long do you think it would take someone to find, and what problems do you foresee with it? And I just thought that was amazing.
That's so brilliant.
I might need to call up the pub on the way, bit of Dutch courage, but yeah, happy to go look for spots to place the body. Not like I don't do that all day long.
I'm actually going to have a fictional pub in Liverpool, so that could be your first job. Is go. I think I know where I want it, but yeah, you could be.
I am so your woman for this project all day long. So sorry, we've completely gone off track now because I'm excited about research. So Sally, individually for you, what's next?
I'm just writing the 3rd book in my Sebastian Clifford series called Never Too Late, which is actually combining both series. So Sebastian Clifford actually does appear in Cavendish and Walker in book 10. And then in this book, Walker, Whitney, her brother, was attacked 25 years ago, and it was never solved. The case wasn't solved. And so some more information's come I'm trying not to give too much away. Some more information's come up, and he's going to work that case for her at the same time as working with the Market Harbour Police with his partner. He's a private investigator now. So that's probably not very understandable. Yeah, I was just thinking that sounds a bit. And then I've got book 12 in the Cavendish and Walker series I'm writing next. That's coming after that. That will be coming out probably mid to the end of next year. I get my covers in advance because then that makes me do them. So I've also just got four more covers, 2 more Cavendish and Walkers and 2 more Sebastian Clifford covers.
Are they the ones I've seen? Have I seen them?
Yeah, I've sent them. Yeah.
So
they'll probably take me right through to 2023, especially if our UK trip comes off, which I've booked the flights.
So what is your UK trip? Are you seeing friends and family, or is it a book tour? She says
no, it's friends, family. It's Escape the New Zealand Winter. So we're going to. I think we leave on the 31st of March and get back at the end of July, and we're going to have 8 weeks or 9 weeks in Portugal on the Algarve, and the rest of the time in the UK, but a bit at the beginning and a bit at the end to see family and friends.
Doesn't sound like a bad way of spending a few weeks.
I'll be working.
I probably hate the Algarve because I can't stand heat at all. Maybe we should do a switch. I'll live in New Zealand in the winter, and you can live in Manchester, and it'll still be warmer.
Yeah, but Manchester rains. I spent 3 years in Manchester. I know it rains all the time.
All the time, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, my front room, there's no point ever opening the curtains. My neighbours must think I'm odd. It just doesn't let light in, so I just don't bother because people are nosy. So.
No, I love the sunshine. I tend to sit in the shade, but I just like seeing the sun. Like now, we've got a lovely blue sky and it's very sunny. And what's it like in Wellington, Amanda?
It's not too bad. I think it's yeah, no, it was nice. Maybe about 17 degrees. Sam, you'd actually love Wellington. It's quite temperate. We don't hit sort of below about 10 degrees, but it doesn't really ever get hotter than 24 or 25. So it's just
a beautiful
nice
city
all year round. Well, ish. It is.
It's a beautiful city, but the weather's crap, and that's probably, otherwise we would live there as well. But we live in Hawke's Bay, which is the wine region.
It is a bit windy.
Me and my husband have like a long running joke that at some point, because he likes the heat, he's going to go and live in LA or somewhere, and I'll go somewhere like Norway or Sweden, yeah. And I'll Skype him. I don't even know if people still use Skype, but that is what we'll do. That is how we will retain our marriage via computer, so that we can both have the weather that we like.
Just come to New Zealand. You have, New Zealand's not sunny all the time. You get winters, and go to Wellington.
So going back to, obviously, us talking about Liverpool for research and me getting silly with the idea, which I meant the offer. What about research for where you're writing, where your books are set? Do you visit places to set them, or how do you go about researching an area?
Shall I go first, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, no, you go.
Okay. My Cavendish and Walker books were in a made-up place called Lenchester, which was a combination of Leicester and Manchester, because I went to both universities. I mean, that was the reason for that. And I sort of I sort of set it. I come from Northamptonshire, and I sort of set it around there, but didn't actually fix it in a place. And I'm tripping up a bit now, because I have people saying to me, I'm trying to work out where it is, because one time you tell me it's 10 miles from here, then another time you tell me it's like 20 miles from here, and how can that be, So I know all around the Midlands, so that's why that one. And the Clifford series is set in Market Harborough, which I know because we live 20 minutes from Market Harborough. So I have asked, you must know Wendy, who runs the Fiction Cafe. She's probably a member of this group. She's in Brixworth. Wendy Clark? No? Oh, okay. Well, I asked her to...
Terrible with names. I'm terrible. If you showed me an image, I'd probably know.
I bet you would know her, because the Fiction Cafe, whatever it is, it's
got a lot familiar, but
yeah, you'll know. Anyway, she lives in Brixworth, which is the next village to where I was, as it turns out, and she did check something out for me about the river. So I would ask people, or I would just use my memory and Google Maps. I mean, and you can literally go down. I think if you know an area, and then you use the Google Maps, and then actually go into the streets, because you recognise them anyway. I mean, that's a great help.
Would you ever put an address in for a story that, if you were using a real place, would you add an extra street number so that nothing could have actually happened in a place that was really there? Did that come out right?
I know exactly what you mean.
Right, good.
I change pub names if I'm using a pub from a village, and if I'm using an actual street, I won't give the number. I'll just describe a house. Say it could be, but yeah, you're right.
In our current book, Sally, I haven't even told you this, but I've just made up a street. I've just inserted an extra street.
Oh, okay.
But all my books. I think might be my 22nd book, but this is the first time I've set a book in England. So all my books have been set in North America, because that's where my publisher was, and that's what they wanted. I've been to North America for 5 days when we went to San Francisco, so I pretty much
know it then, don't we?
Yeah. I all my books were based off Buffy and where Sunnydale was. Not really, but I just based all my things off research and movies and television. But another reason why I'm excited to end up writing books set in Liverpool, because I know it really well, and I will be writing about. I can use it as a character, which I've never really done before.
We're coming up to the last 5 minutes now, and I haven't actually asked. I don't know if you've taken any books to work with you, Amanda. Did you take anything to show
haven't.
off?
No, I didn't, because I forgot.
That's fine. Well,
which ones do you want? I've got some.
I don't care. I mean,
I can show you. Hang on.
See, now that is friendship. Not got your book? No, it's fine. I've got my copy.
We all have each other's books, like on our bookshelves, but yeah, it's cool because none of us, Sally, Karen, and I, none of us had published, and now we've all published lots of books. So it's such a buzz that we've all sort of come up together. So yeah, we love having each other's books. And
you didn't get to answer the question because I interrupted about research on the area, the setting.
Oh yes, make it up. No, okay. But sort of. I always invent fictional suburbs within a city, and then base it on the proper geography and weather and everything, and socio-economics. But I'll make things up. But yeah, the Liverpool one, when I start them, will be the first one where I've actually done. Have it in a setting. Oh, that's my first book.
That's Amanda's very first book.
Oh,
Had Me at Halo.
About dead girl who got kicked out of heaven.
This is the series about the genie.
Sophie's mixed up magic. Yeah, she gets turned into a genie on the first day of middle school and turns orange.
This is a YA crush book.
Oh, yeah, The Heartbreak Cure. Yeah, that was a YA romance.
Hang on.
These are the three conveyor belts on finger.
These are the 3 midnight books.
Oh yeah, that was she was a 12-year-old girl who could see ghosts and sort of became not a ghost hunter. It had a weird twist to the plot.
These are 3 really fun to write. These are 3 standalones. Zombie Queen of Newbury High and Fairy Bad Day. Amanda has some brilliant titles. And Demonosity. And I don't think I've got any more because I think the others.
No, there's a few I don't even have copies of.
No.
Right, your turn, Sally. Show us your books.
Yeah.
That's the first 2 in my Sebastian Clifford series, Web of Lies, and that's the one I'm going to do a reading for you, which I know I've got to get to for December, and then Speak No Evil is the second one, and then. You did ask. I haven't got book 11 yet because I'm waiting for that to arrive. There's the first 10 books.
They're so pretty all together.
They look nice together. That's better.
So Deadly Games, Fatal Justice. I can't read the one that's red. Something Track. Death Track. Lethal Secret. Last Breath. Final Verdict. Ritual Demise, Mortal Remains, Silent Graves, and Hell Show?
Kill Shot.
See, the red doesn't work properly on camera.
No, the one that's missing is called Dark Secrets, and that has a lot of secrets. You say you like secrets? There's a family of 5 are found dead around their dining table. A nice, from a good family, a popular family. And it's all to do with, obviously, who did it and the secrets. There were some dark secrets.
The dark secrets.
Dark secrets. Very dark secrets.
Darker the better. In a story, not in real life.
Yeah, definitely not in real life.
Well, thank you both so much for a great hour. That's really flown past.
I know.
So, publication day is tomorrow in the UK. Have you got which is the 18th of November? Have you got different dates in different places?
No, I think because it's a UK publisher, and I think all the books are coming out at the same. I mean, all the formats. So you've got the audio book, the paperback, the ebook, the large print book. What else is there? Is that it?
Do they? I don't. They might do a hard.
Oh, maybe hardcover. I don't know, but they're all coming out anyway. So if anyone sees them in the shops, because we're not sure where to get them, please send us a photo.
Yeah, if we see them out in the wild, I will go and have a look. I'll go and have a look and see where I can find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, any UK CBC members, if you see it, pop it in the group and tag us in it. We can have a look where you've seen it. Where is the best? Just before you go, where is the best place you've ever seen one of your books? Either of you seen one somewhere memorable?
Only in San Francisco.
I weirdly saw some of my earlier YA books did get as Australian New Zealand distribution, and I'm a big charity shopper. I love vintage and retro, and I was in a charity shop near where you live, Sally. I must have been on the way to visit you, yes.
Oh.
And there was one of my books for sale in the charity shop. It was so funny. I didn't buy it. I should have bought it, but I was so surprised.
Should have signed it and put a little note with it and get a few more quid for it.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Sally, how about you?
Well, no, I haven't. Other than seeing it in San Francisco, I haven't seen any of mine over here or anywhere.
Well, we'll
That's
have to remedy that.
These will. Sorry, what did you say?
We'll have to remedy that. So anyone who's in New Zealand, go somewhere really cool and take a picture of the books.
Yeah.
And drop them in the group. We'd love to see them. Thank you both so much. I know you've both got busy days to get back to. So
yeah, I'm going to the hairdressers. Having a haircut.
And thank you to all of the members and admins who've joined in as well. Thank you, ladies. It's been lovely talking to you for the last hour.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been really fun.